As we all know, education keeps changing along with society and technology. That's why curriculum development is very important because it helps schools stay relevant and prepare students for the future. Curriculum is not just about making lesson plans, but about shaping the entire experience for both teachers and students. Good day, everyone. I am Norlaila Makadag, and we are the Group 5. So, I'll be starting our discussion for the Chapter 5 Curriculum Development and Planning. So, in this chapter, we will learn about the different models of curriculum development, the people involved in the process, and the challenges faced by our education system, especially in this 21st century. We'll also understand how the curriculum is reviewed and improved, particularly under the K-12 program, to meet the needs of the learners today. Now, let's begin with the models of curriculum development. Model serves as guides or patterns that help curriculum developers organize, plan, and evaluate what should be taught and how it should be delivered. These models shows us that curriculum is a continuous process of planning, implementation, and improvement. Now let's move on to the AIM model, which is known as the simplest and the clearest model of curriculum development. So this model starts with the objectives and moves in one direction. It includes the content, materials, teacher activities, student activities, and test activities. So basically, the AIM model focuses on the direct flow of teaching and learning from what students need to learn to what teachers need to do, and finally to how learning will be tested. However, this model does not include foundation elements or philosophical basis, so it's more of a straightforward forward guide for planning lessons rather than explaining the deeper why behind them. Next will be TABA's inverted model. It's called inverted because unlike other models that starts from the top, this one begins in the classroom with the teacher. So TABA believed that teachers should take an active role in developing the curriculum since they know their students' needs best. So her model has 8 steps. Step 1, diagnose needs. This is where teachers identify what students really need to learn. Step 2, formulate objectives. So they set specific learning goals including knowledge, attitudes, and skills. Step 3, select content. Teachers choose the most appropriate topics based on students' developmental levels. Step 4, organize content from simple to complex so that ensuring ideas connect logically. Step 5, select learning experiences. So these are activities that help students reach multiple objectives. Step 6, organize learning experiences. So arrange the activities to build on previous lessons and make learning continuous. Step 7, evaluate continuously. So teachers must check students' progress while the unit is ongoing. And step 8, check for balance and sequence. So making sure that there's a good mix of activities and that lessons flows smoothly. So TABA models is unique because it directly involves teachers in creating the curriculum. This gives them sense of ownership and makes implementation easier. It also connects curriculum and instruction, meaning what's written in the curriculum is really applied in the classroom teaching. Next, we have Tyler's and Means model. So according to Ralph Tyler, developing a curriculum should always begin with identifying its purpose or goals. So in other words, we must first know what we want our students to achieve before planning the lessons and activities. So during his time, this idea was revolutionary because no one had ever presented curriculum planning this way before. Tyler explained that educational objectives can be identified through 5 main sources. First is the students as a source. We must understand the learner's needs, interests, and abilities because this helps us design lessons that truly motivate and engage them. Second is society as a source. So Tyler believed that students learn best by interacting with their community. The society becomes their learning laboratory where they can observe problems and find real solutions. Third, the subject matter as a source. This influenced by Dewey and Brunner, Tyler emphasized that real learning happens when students understand the structure of knowledge, not just memorize facts. Fourth, philosophy as a source. Tyler said that sound curriculum planning starts with sound thinking, meaning teachers should first be clear about their own beliefs and school's philosophy to ensure that their teaching aligns with shared values. And lastly, psychology as a source. So, teachers need to understand how students learn and their developmental stages. Tyler advised using both philosophy and psychology as filters to remove objectives that are either unrealistic or not aligned with the school's values. In short, Tyler's model follows a constructivist approach where we begin with what we want students to know and be able to do, and from there we design the content, the learning activities, and assessment that will help achieve those goals. Next, I'll be discussing the fourth model, which is the Oliva model. This model was first introduced by Peter F. Oliva in 1976, and he expanded it in 1992 to make it more simple, comprehensive, and systematic for effective curriculum planning. Oliva believed that a good curriculum should address the needs of society and individuals' needs of learners. Now let's go over the 12 components of this model. Component 1, this step is about stating the aims of education and identifying the philosophical and psychological principles that guides it. Component 2, this involves analyzing the needs of community, students, and subject matter. Component 3 and 4, here the school sets clear goals and objectives based on what was identified earlier. Component 5, this is where planners organize and implement the curriculum, forming its structure. Component 6 and 7, this involves setting instructional goals and objectives for each level and subject. Component 8, this focuses on choosing instructional strategies to use in the classroom. Component 9, this part is about evaluation techniques. Oliva divided it into two. First one is the evaluation before implementation to plan ahead, and number 2 is the evaluation after instruction to assess results. Component 11, so after implementation, teachers evaluate both instruction and student performance. For the component 12, the final part is evaluating the overall curriculum program. So in summary, the Oliva model shows that curriculum development is a continuous process from planning, implementing, to evaluating, these all working together to ensure that teaching truly meets students' and society's needs. Now let's move on to the Saylor and Alexander model. This model was introduced by Galen Saylor and William Alexander in 1974. They defined curriculum as a plan for providing sets of learning opportunities to achieve broad educational goals and specific objectives for an identifiable population served by a single school center. According to them, curriculum development involves four main steps: the goals, objectives, domains, the curriculum designing, the curriculum implementation, and the evaluation. First, goals, objectives, and domains. So this is where curriculum planning begins. It starts by identifying the major goals and specific objectives that the school wants students to achieve. Each major goal represents a curriculum domain, and Seller and Alexander identified four main domains. First, it's the personal development. This focuses on building the student's character, confidence, and self-awareness. Second, human relations. This emphasizes how students interact, communicate, and work well with others. Third, continued learning skills. This helps students become lifelong learners by developing curiosity and independent thinking. Fourth, we have specialization. This prepares students for specific career paths or fields of study. Second, curriculum designing. So once the goals and domains are identified, curriculum planners move to designing the curriculum. So here they decide what kinds of learning experiences or opportunities will be given to students and how and when this will happen. Third, curriculum implementation. So after designing, teachers now apply the plan in the classroom. So they set clear instructional objectives and choose appropriate teaching methods and strategies that will help students achieve the desired outcomes. And lastly, evaluation. The final step is evaluating the entire process. So evaluation should be comprehensive, meaning it looks like the whole educational program, the curriculum plan, the effectiveness of teaching, and of course, students' achievement. So through evaluation, teachers and planners can determine if the school's goals and learning's objectives have been successfully met. So in summary, the Saylor and Alexander model provides a clear and systematic process from setting goals to designing, implementing, and evaluating to ensure that curriculum truly meets the needs of the students and the community. So these goals and domains are carefully chosen based on research, community needs, and educational standards.
Good day, everyone. I am Nadja Makarangkat. I will continue the remaining models of curriculum development. So now we have the McDonald's model. So it was developed by James McDonald. So itong model na to is nagfo-focus siya doon sa relationships among different elements of education. So itong mga elements na to it is commonly represented through a Venn diagram of 4 overlapping circles, which includes the curriculum, instruction, teaching, and the learning. So, the curriculum is the formal plan or blueprint for learning. So, yung curriculum is dito is naka-outline na kung ano yung dapat matutunan ng students. It also includes yung goals, content, and yung assessment method na gagamitin. Next is instruction. This is the social system where teaching and learning happen. So, ito naman is it refers to the actual process and social setting kung saan nangyayari yung teaching and learning. Like yung sa classroom environment, activities, and interactions na nagbibigay ng buhay sa curriculum. Next is the teaching. So this is the professional role of the teacher. So yung sa teaching is it includes yung planning, delivering lessons, and also yung pag-assess ng learning and pag-guide sa students. And lastly is yung sa learning. This is the task-related behavior of the student. So, yung learning is ito yung outcome nitong mga processes na to na that is reflected in the students' behavior, skills, knowledge, and attitudes. So, together is itong 4 na components na to is nag-form sila ng system na nag-highlight kung paano yung education is hindi lang siya one-way process, but instead it is a continuous interaction among multiple factors. So, with these elements it shows a key educational intersections, which the first one is the concomitant learning. So, this is the incidental learning that happens in the classroom, like learning to work with others or developing a love for a subject. So, itong concomitant learning naman is kumbaga it refers doon sa incidental or unplanned learning na nangyayari as students engage in classroom activities like yung pagde-develop ng teamwork, communication, and problem-solving skills while doing or completing a group projects or activities. Now we have behavior modification through teacher feedback. So, this shows how a teacher's feedback directly impacts a student's behavior. So, dito naman is it emphasizes kung paanong yung feedback na nanggagaling sa teacher, like yung comments, reinforcement, and yung pagbibigay ng evaluation is meron siyang direct influence doon sa academic habits ng students, motivation, and also yung behavior ng student mismo sa classroom. The fourth one is the third one rather is the in-service experiences. So dito naman is it highlights yung importance ng development ng isang teacher and also yung training in shaping how teachers interpret and apply the curriculum in their classrooms while also ensuring na tuloy-tuloy yung improvement ng teaching quality nila. The next one is supervision experiences. So, this is how the curriculum is guided and monitored in the classroom setting. So, ito naman is nagfo-focus siya kung paano yung mga instructional leaders like yung principals, supervisors is they monitor and guide the implementation of the curriculum para ma-maintain yung consistency and quality ng instruction. Lastly is pupil-teacher planning experiences. This shows when students and teachers work together to plan activities demonstrating collaboration in education. So, dito naman is that it represents collaborative efforts kung saan yung mga students and teachers is they jointly plan learning activities or projects promoting student ownership, engagement, and active participation in the learning process. So, overall is itong McDonald's model is it emphasizes that education functions best kapag itong lahat ng element na na-discuss natin and intersection is they work harmoniously. So, it shows that learning does not only occur through formal instruction but also through the relationships, feedback, and intersections within the classroom environment. So, itong model din na to, it encourages educators to view curriculum not as a static document, but as a living process shaped by the teacher's professionalism, instructional design, and the students' active involvement. So, the next model is Eisner's artistic approach, which was developed by Elliot Eisner. So, he viewed na yung education daw is, it is a creative and interpretive process rather than a purely technical one. He believed na yung teaching it is a form of an art and that educators is para din silang artists which pwede nilang gamitin yung imagination nila, sensitivity, and judgment to shape meaningful learning experiences. So, sa model na to is Eisner was able to identify 7 key elements that guide curriculum development and implementation. So, itong 7 components na to focuses on creativity, expression, and the human side of learning. So, the first one is goals and priorities. Not all goals have to be strictly specific or measurable. This component values broad goals and aims. So, dito sa component na to is it emphasizes na hindi daw lahat ng educational objective is kinakailangan na maging specific or measurable. So, pwede daw na yung ibang goals is broad, like fostering creativity, critical thinking, tsaka yung simply pag-appreciate sa beauty and culture. The next one is content sources. The curriculum's content should come from the individual, society, and the subject matter itself. So, sa component na to, suggest na yung curriculum content daw should be drawn from 3 major sources: the learner, the society, and the subject matter, to ensure na yung learning is magre-remain na relevant, socially meaningful, and intellectually sound. The third one is types of learning opportunities. This emphasizes providing diverse experiences, not just traditional reading and writing. So, itong component na to calls for a variety of experiences that goes beyond traditional instructions, which allows students to learn through exploration, art, movement, and practical engagement rather than yung pag-memorize lang nung lesson. And then we have organization of learning opportunities. The curriculum should be flexible, not a rigid linear process. So, ito naman is that it highlights the importance of flexibility in structuring lessons so that yung mga teachers is that they can adapt to the needs of the student and the natural flow of classroom learning rather than following rigid learning plans. The fifth component is organization of content areas. This component encourages connecting different subject subjects together. So, sa component na to is that it encourages yung pag-integrate ng iba't ibang disciplines, which would allow students to see connections across subjects. For instance, linking literature and with history and art with science. The next one is modes of presentation and response. So information should be presented in different ways, and the students should be able to show what they've learned in creative ways. So itong component na to recognizes na yung information is pwede siyang ma-present in multiple ways, like through visual, auditory, or experiential method. And that yung mga students is they should be allowed to express kung ano yung natutunan nila creatively, like through drawings, performances, or projects instead of only through written tests. And lastly is types of evaluation procedures. So evaluation encompasses the entire process of curriculum planning and development. So itong component na to proposes na yung assessment daw is hindi lang niya i-measure yung final result, but also include the entire learning processes, which also focuses doon sa growth, creativity, and yung personal development ng learner or yung student. So, in practice is Eisner's artistic approach transforms the classroom into a space kung saan yung teaching it is guided by intuition and artistry. So, for instance, sa isang literature class is that instead of requiring yung mga students to write an essay about a novel, is yung teacher is ang pwede niyang gawin is to allow the students to create a visual board, perform a dramatic reading, or compose a song inspired by the novel. So, through this is yung mga students is hindi lang nila na-demonstrate yung comprehension nila, but also express creativity and emotion, which shows how the intersections of Eisner's elements foster both intellectual and aesthetic or artistic learning. So, overall is itong model na to reminds educators that curriculum design should value the art of teaching, celebrating human creativity, personal meaning, and also the rich diversity of how students learn and express understanding. The next model is the Diamond model, which was developed by Robert Diamond in 1989. So this model presents a structured and systematic approach to curriculum development that emphasizes practicality, clarity, and continuous improvement. So itong model na to it is built around 5 key elements or stages. So itong stages na to serves a specific purpose in creating an effective and responsive educational program. So this model involves 5 stages. The first one is assessment of need. This stage is the first stage is to assess the needs of the students, the community, and the subject area. This is similar to Tyler's model, which also looks at these 3 knowledge sources. So itong stage na to focuses on identifying what learners, the community, and the subject area require. So it involves yung pag-a-analyze doon sa existing problems, performance gaps, and the future demands to ensure na yung curriculum it addresses relevant and authentic needs. And then, the statement of goals. So, you define the goals, starting with general ideas and moving to specific ones. So, itong stage na to is that it translates those identified needs into clear educational purposes. So, itong goals na to begin broadly and are refined to specific measurable outcomes na nagde-define kung ano yung dapat na matutunan ng learners and be able to do by the end of the instruction or the lesson. And then the curriculum designing. So, only after the goals are set do you begin to design the curriculum. So, itong stage na to is it involves yung pagde-develop ng structure and content ng curriculum, like yung pagpipili ng topics, materials na gagamitin, learning activities, and yung assessment strategies na gagawin or gagamitin mo that align with the established goals. And then the implementation and assessment. This is to implement the curriculum and assess whether the goals were met. So ito namang dito sa stage na to puts the designed curriculum into practice and evaluates whether yung goals ba na identify natin is na achieve siya. So this stage ensures na yung teaching methods, resources, and student assessment are effectively translating the curriculum into a meaningful learning experiences. And lastly is revision. This is where you make changes if needed. So sa stage na to emphasizes yung importance of reflection and improvement. So magbe-base ka doon sa assessment results and feedback from students, teachers, and the stakeholders para yung curriculum mo is kapag i-modify mo is ma-address mo yung weaknesses and adapt to changing educational needs. So, through these interconnected stages is itong diamond model na to ensures na yung educational programs, it remains systematic, relevant, and effective, and also promote a balance between structure and flexibility. So, itong model na to is hindi lang niya ginaguide yung educators through logical steps, but also encourages a reflective mindset, reminding curriculum planners na yung effective teaching is na-achieve lang siya through constant evaluation and improvement rather. And lastly, for the models of curriculum development is we have Walker's naturalistic model. So this was introduced by Walker in the late 1970s. So it takes a realistic and human-centered approach sa curriculum development by focusing on how educators actually plan curricula in real-world setting. So unlike yung traditional linear or perspective models, is itong model na to, itong approach ng model na to is deliberative. Meaning is that it emphasizes doon sa discussion, negotiation, and consensus building among those involved in curriculum planning. So, he believed that better planning and development will result when those involved in it understand the process. So, he classified 3 basic phases of planning, which flows naturally rather than rigidly. The first one is we have the platform. So it includes that a platform consists of various conceptions, theories, and aims which are carefully thought out beliefs of the planners. However, there are also beliefs that are less formulated, which he termed as images and procedures. So itong phase na to is that it serves as the foundation of the curriculum planning processes. So dito is nakasali na dito or it includes yung planner's belief, values, theories, and assumptions about teaching and learning. So sa phase na to is that pwede daw na maging formal, like yung educational philosophies or learning theories, or pwede din na informal, like yung personal experiences ng teacher, yung intuitions about what works best for the students. And then we have the deliberation, includes identifying important facts, generating alternative, and choosing the most defensible alternative. The deliberation phase leads to the design phase when a group had achieved sufficient consensus about beliefs, problematic circumstances, and potential solutions. So, itong phase na to is ito yung heart nung itong model ni Walker. Kasi this is where planners engage in open discussions, identifying issues, and also dito din is kino-consider yung mga iba't ibang alternative na pwedeng gawin, and also yung pag-evaluate ng mga possible solutions. It is through deliberation that the team analyzes different perspectives, weighs evidence, and strives to reach a defensible and agreed upon decision kung ano yung dapat na ituro, and kung paano itong lesson na to dapat ituro. And lastly is we have the design, when planned curriculum is actually created. So once na naabot mo na yung sufficient level of agreement, is that yung process is mag-move siya doon sa final phase, which is the design. So dito nangyayari yung this is where the curriculum plan is actually created. Like yung mga objectives is dito na nasa-specify, dito din na pinipili yung ano ba yung kailangang ma-experience ng mga learners during the learning process, and also yung mga gagamitin na evaluation is dito rin madidetermine. So itong phase na to is that it translates collective ideas and decisions into a concrete educational plan ready for implementation. So through these intersections is that Walker's model promotes collaboration, reflection, and responsiveness, making the curriculum planning a social and contextual process rather than a technical one. So itong model na to values yung diverse insights na galing sa teachers, experts, and the stakeholders, which leads to a curriculum na hindi lang well-designed but also widely supported and grounded in real educational values. So, overall is itong models na to, so lahat ng models na to outlines a series of steps to be taken in curriculum development. And it also reminds us that itong mga models na to is hindi sila lahat complete. They do not and cannot show every detail and aspect of the complicated curriculum processes. So that's all for the models of curriculum development.
Hello, good morning everyone. So I am Regeline Makatano. So today we will talk about a very important topic in education, which is participants in curriculum development and planning. So alam nyo ba na ang curriculum na ginagamit natin sa paaralan ay hindi lang basta gawa ng isang tao o isang group. So it's actually involves many people from teachers to principals, parents, students, and even our national government. So let's explore how these key participants are in what roles they play in shaping what we learn in school. So we have curriculum development involves people from different levels. Kumbaga, nandito yung classroom, school, local, and national. So this collaboration ensures na ang curriculum ay hindi talagang tumutugon sa pangailangan ng mga estudyante at ng ating lipunan. So according to McDonald, no, all parties daw affected by the curriculum should help decide its nature and purpose. Kumbaga, lahat ng apektado ng curriculum, like teachers, students, parents, school leaders, and even government, ay dapat may boses na sa pagbuo nito. Okay. Now, let's meet the important people behind the curriculum, our key participants. So we have teachers, students, principals, parents, curriculum specialists, superintendents, school boards, and national government and its agencies. So of course, let's start with the most obvious one, the teachers. So teachers are at the heart of curriculum development. So kumbaga, they are the ones who decide which parts of the curriculum to emphasize, paano ito ituturo, at paano ito iangkop sa pangailangan ng kanilang mga student. So teachers act as co-designers and co-researchers. Kumbaga, hindi lang sila tagasunod, kundi kasama sa pagdisenyo ng mga program sa paaralan. So nowadays, many schools allow teachers to participate in curriculum development. So to make sure it fits real classroom situations. So for example, no, for instance, yung DepEd curriculum, they say now we need to teach reading comprehension. So the teacher decides what stories, strategies, or activities are best for the students' level. Now, kung may mga teacher, syempre may mga students. So let's talk about the role. So students are not just receivers of knowledge. So they are also participants in curriculum development. Kumbaga, their feedback and experiences help improve learning activities. So when students participate, so they become more motivated and responsible for their own learning. So kapag sinasabi ng mga estudyante na mas natututo sila sa hands-on activities kaysa sa puro lecture, na pwedeng baguhin ng teacher ang approach sa pagtuturo niya. Kibali na gagawa siya ng mga strategies na angkop sa kanilang gusto. So see, that's already part of the curriculum improvement. Now let's move up to school leadership, the principals. So principals play a key role in successful curriculum planning. So they must balance both managerial and instructional duties. Kumbaga, hindi lang sila taga-manage, dapat marunong din sa teaching and learning processes. So some of their tasks include scheduling time for curriculum activities. Kumbaga, the principal ensures that there is time in school calendar, no, for curriculum planning, so that the teacher, like teachers meetings and professional development. Kumbaga, kapag may mga bagong curriculum guidelines from DepEd, siya yung nagsiset ng meeting with teachers para pag-usapan kung paano ito i-apply. Next, we have providing in-service training for teachers. So, dito naman, yung mga principals organize seminars and workshops to update teachers with new teaching strategies and trends, and serving in curriculum committees and refining the school's mission and vision. So, sa maliliit na paralan, no, mas direct ang role ng principal. So, sila mismo ang nag-oversee ng mga implementation. For example, no, if ang isang school wants to add a reading recovery program, so the principal organizes training or schedule sessions and checks if it is effective. Pero alam nyo ba na hindi lang school staff ang include dito. Even our parents play an important role. So parents are vital partners in curriculum implementation. So they provide financial and moral support, monitor their children progress, and communicate with teachers. So also, they help observe their children's behavior and development, kung paano nagre-respond sa mga assignments or activities ang kanilang mga anak. So moreover, parents can provide resources like books, devices, or materials that help the child learn better. For example, kapag may mga project ang mga anak nila, 'di ba mas madalas na tumutulong ang mga magulang sa paghahanap ng mga materials na kinakailangan ng kanilang mga anak. So that's already part of curriculum support. Now, let's talk about the experts behind the curriculum. We have the curriculum specialists. So sila yung mga professionals who specialize in designing and evaluating the curriculum. So they are often department heads, supervisors, or coordinators. Sila yung mga taga siguro na tama or meaningful at effective yung mga aralin na ginagamit sa klase. So their responsibilities include conceptualizing and organizing programs. So sila yung taga-plano and structure the curriculum. Kumbaga, they determine what subjects, skills, and competencies should be included. Next, we have guiding instructional design. So dito naman, sila yung tumutulong sa mga teachers designs lessons. Kibali mga activities and assessments that match the learning objectives. For example, if yung DepEd na gusto nilang ma-strengthen yung reading comprehension ng mga bata, so yung mga curriculum specialists na sila yung nagpo-provide ng mga example lesson plans or strategies para matulungan ang mga teachers. And next, we have evaluating curriculum effectiveness. Dito naman, they are assessed whether the curriculum achieves its goals. Kibagli na by reviewing students' performance, teacher feedback, and assessment results. And last is working with outside expert if needed. Kibali dito is sometimes na di collaborate with professionals from university, industries, or DepEd officials to make improvements. So in short, no, sila yung they make sure that the curriculum is well structured and effective and relevant. Okay, from curriculum specialists, so let's move on to the superintendents. So sila yung the chief administrators. Kibali, the superintendent is the chief administrator of a school system. So sila yung namumuno sa isang division o district ng mga paaralan. So their role is to bridge communication between the schools and the higher education agency, like yung school board or DepEd regional office. So ang kanilang mga duties included are presenting curriculum matters to the school board. Kibali na sila yung nag-communicate and justify curriculum changes, updates, also new projects for approval. Also, they are initiating curriculum activities. Kumbaga, they start programs or pilot tests for new subjects or approaches. Like, for example, no, kung may mga bagong reading program na gustong i-try nila, sila ang nag-approve at nagmumonitor ng mga results nito. And next, we have organizing teacher training. So, sila naman yung tumutulong to ensure that teachers receive proper professional development and communicating changes to schools. And lastly, we have inspiring innovation and adapting to new educational trends. Kumbaga, yung mga superintendents, they encourage schools to adapt modern teaching strategies and adapt to 21st century learning. So, in essence, no, yung superintendent acts as the leader of leaders. So, in maintaining quality education across schools. So, next we have the school boards. So, sila ang legal backbone ng mga paaralan. So, school boards are the legal agents of schools. So, they manage and approve new programs and set district policies for curriculum. So, however, sa atin dito sa Philippines, no, the major decision making is done by our national agencies like yung DepEd, yung CHED, at saka yung TESDA. Let's move on to the national level, our government and its agencies. So these agencies ensures that education dito sa Philippines is standardized and inclusive and globally competitive. So sila yung nag-ooperate under the Republic Act 10533, also known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, so which introduced the K-12 curriculum. So let's go through some important sections. We have section 10.1. So dito yung formulation and design. Kumbaga, DepEd is in charge of designing and coordinating the basic education curriculum with CHED and TESDA. So this ensures na yung basic education, higher education, and technical vocational training are all connected and aligned. Kibali na if yung lessons you learn in senior high school is designed yun so that they prepare you either for college or for technical job. And of course, we have section 10.2. Ito naman yung standards and principles. Kibali, ito yung curriculum must be learner-centered. Ito yung inclusive, relevant, and culture-sensitive, and flexible. Section 10.3. So, dito naman yung development of materials. Kibali, ito yung schools can produce their own learning materials as long as yung DepEd is nag-a-approve nito. So, this allows localization. Kumbaga, meaning lessons can include examples from the students' own community. And then, we have section 10.4, medium of instruction. Dito naman, no, learners' first language or yung mother tongue nila is used from the grades key to grade 3. So then, transition to Filipino and English in higher grades. For example, no, sa grade 1, pwedeng gamitin ang namang teacher or ang student yung Ilocano, Cebuano, o Tagalog para mas madaling maunawaan ng bata. And now, we have decision 10.5. So, stakeholder participation. Dito naman, yung DepEd, nag-consult sila sa DOLE or sa PRC and DOS and other community sectors to ensure na yung mga students can learn the matches real world job, no, na demands and social needs. Kumbaga na, di ba, kaya nga meron tayong senior high school tracks like mga UMS, GAS, and TVL because it designed with input from industries and professionals. Now let's take a look at the committee that reviews these educational plans. So we have this section 11 curriculum consultative committee. So dito naman, this committee is composed of representatives from sa DepEd, sa CHED, sa TISDA, sa DOLE, sa PRC, sa DOS, and of course, the business sector. So, ito is headed by the DepEd Secretary. So, and its purpose is to review, evaluate, and recommend improvements to the curriculum. So sa madaling salita, sila ang nagsisiguro na ang curriculum ay sumasabay o sa pagbabago ng panahon, no? Tulad ng mga technology, pangangailangan sa trabaho at mga bagong teaching strategies. Halimbawa din to is yung kung ang mga industriya ng ngayon ay nangangailangan ng mga maraming digital skills, no? Maaring i-recommend ng mga committee na isama sa mga curriculum and mga subjects tulad ng coding or computer literacy para sa mas maging prepared ang mga students sa modern na work. Let's talk about why do we even need all these people working together. So we have these changing needs and planning challenges. So dito sa Pilipinas, no, sa atin na yung mga low student performance in tests like yung TIMSS and NAT, no, it push us to reform educational or leading to the key to 12 curriculum. So ang goals nito is to produce a holistically developed learners and globally competitive graduates and makatao, makabansa, makakalikasan individuals. So, kaya ngayon sa senior high, no, may specialized subjects na like entrepreneurship, research, or work immersion para handa kayo sa real life natin. To end our discussion, no, let's reflect on what two curriculum experts said about planning and improvement. So, as Glassdoor in 2012, sabi niya na curriculum planning is the specification and sequencing of major decisions to made and the future with regard to the curriculum. Kumbaga, curriculum planning means carefully deciding what to teach, ano ang ituturo natin, kailan ituturo, at paano i-improve. Kibali na step by step with future goals in mind. And also, according to Winbone and Pubitz, no, curriculum planning is at the heart of school reform to help schools improve students' achievements. So ito, sinasabi dito na without effective curriculum planning, no, there can be no real school improvement. Ibali, curriculum planning drives learning, progress, and ensures students achieve success.
Assalamualaikum and good morning, Ma'am Lian. I am Nasim G. Pindaton and now I am going to continue discussing the next topic in Chapter 5, and that is the goal-based model of curriculum planning, the Philippine experience. Now, let us know first what is the goal-based model. Now, allow me to read it first. It is a curriculum planning strategy ensuring revisions align with intended educational outcomes. It focuses on creating a clear path from planning to implementation with specific goals in mind. It is goal-oriented, practical, and systematic. So basically, a goal-based model is you are actually trying to plan what are the things that you want to achieve at the end of the topic. So basically, when you are making this type of curriculum, you're actually trying to figure out what are the intended achievements or goals that you want to get at the end of a specific activity. So that is the goal-based model. There is a goal in mind that you want to achieve. Now that we have the goal-based model in mind, we also have the Enhanced Basic Education Act, the RA 10533. So let me read the definition first. So the Enhanced Basic Education Act, RA 10533, is also known as the K-12 law. So I'm sure that most of you are already familiar what is the K-12 law. So it's like a school or studies where the students are mandated to have a sequence of 1 year of kindergarten, 6 years of elementary, and 6 years of secondary education. So that's basically 4 years of junior high and 2 years of senior high. Now, what is the reason behind this? It is because the K-12 allows the students to be more trained so that when it comes to the other countries, we can have the same standard with them. Now, some of you are already aware that the Philippines is lacking when it comes to education. So the reason why we have another 2 years in senior high is that we can produce more students, more graduates with competencies and skills. Because we know that in senior high, these are the training grounds for students to prepare them for their future. Just like when I was a grade 12 or a grade 11 students, I was also trained how to make a good report when I was doing my OGT in RIST on how to make a DLP. So that is why I'm also able to pursue the goal that I have in mind because I acquired the skill how to make one. So that is the purpose in K to 12. They teach you skills so that you can use them in the future, and those skills you can also use them when you want to get a job. We are talking about the goal-based models, we also have the outcome goals of the K to 12 basic education program. Now, let us read. The K to 12 basic education program seeks to realize the following. First, the Philippine education standards to be at par with international standards. So that's one of the most highest goal that the Philippines wants to achieve. It is because the Philippines is lacking when it comes to the level of education that we have here in our country. So they added 2 years of senior high in our studies so that we could have the same quality, or we could have a same standard with the other countries. Another thing is that it also teaches us more to be emotionally and have mature graduates with equipped skills that has a technical or vocational skills. So as what I have mentioned a while ago, we are actually trained in this program so that we could acquire more skills. Next is that it is significantly address shortages or gaps in educational inputs like teacher items, school head items, classroom instructional materials, and we can also address other things significantly. So that's true. It is because with the help of the K to 12, there are lots of opportunities for teachers to have an item to get a job because there is a applicancy of job to grade 11 and grade 12. So it also helps the teacher who are trying to get a job. So because of the K to 12, there are lots of vacancies in order for them to get those jobs. Next is that it broadens and strengthens stakeholder supports in the improvement of basic education outcomes. So that is true because it also helps not just the students but also the family when it comes to the improvement of their learning. So just for example, we have the students learning the things that what they learn in school can also be applied to what they have in house. So if they learn about business, so they can also use their skills on how to prosper their business at their families in order for them to have a better life. Next is we have the improved internal efficiency. We also have the improved system of governance in the department and improve the quality of teachers. So that's true. With the help of the K to 12 basic education program, it also helps what's happening inside our country because with students who are more educated, we could elect leaders who are actually deserving in the position. Another thing is that with educated students, we could hire students who are able to uplift our country. That is why it's very important for us to train these students so that they can learn a lot of things in order for us to help our country to prosper. Next is it improves the quality of teachers. So that is true. With the help of the K to 12 basic education programs, it also helps the teacher to learn more things, not just when it comes to their skills but also their wisdom, because our wisdom as a teacher is very important when we are teaching our students, because our students learn differently. So that is why we need to learn a lot of skills, we need to acquire a lot of skills in order for us to cater different kind of students. So next, let's talk about the process goals of the K to 12 basic education program. First, it decongest and reform the basic education curriculum in coordination with CHED, TESDA, and other education stakeholders. So it means that the K to 12 basic education program make helps our studies less crowded and organized. It is because with the help of grade 11 and grade 12, it arranged the following sequence of studies what the learner needs to memorize first, step by step. So that's why it's very helpful. The K to 12 basic education program is very helpful when it comes to teaching the students the things that they need to learn first as they go to the higher level. Next is we have number two, it develop culture sensitive, culture responsive, and developmentally appropriate print or non-print online learning resources for K to 12. So in other words, it actually teaches students to be more aware of their culture, not just about their own culture, but the other cultures as well, so that we can respect others. And another thing is that we can also respect ourselves. So the K to 12 basic education program is not just about learning skills, but it is also about having respect and learning your own culture. Number three, it conduct in-service training for teachers relative to the implementation of the K to 12 curriculum. So that's true. With the help of this program, it helps our teachers to be more well trained. It is because they are now allowed to have more opportunities to they are allowed to have more opportunities to get more skills in order for them to apply these skills to their students. So it opens a lot of doors of opportunity for our teacher. And next is that number four, it focuses on integrated instruction to equip learners with skills for future employment, critical and creative thinking, and life skills. So that's true. With the K to 12 Basic Education Act, it helps our students to learn the things that they need in the future to land a job. So with the help of this program, we are also teach how to be critical and think what is the most helpful thing that can help us in the future. So in for instance, for me, I choose education not just because of how easy it is, but it is because I was thinking of a way where I could also help my future students so that I can also teach them what are the things that they need to do in order for them to land a job. So my goal here is to share my wisdom and to transform students to be a transformative leader. Another thing is that I also want to teach them life skills, just like in the goal of the K to 12 basic education program. It's all about teaching our students, the learners, and how to survive, because surviving is what we actually need, not competition. So that is why it is very important to teach our students about survival skills or life skills. Next is that it universalized kindergarten by 2012 and it institutionalized school-based management for school empowerment. So that's true. Because of this, it organized the proper arrangement of learning for the student. With the help of kindergarten, we are also able to cater students are around 4 to 5 years in order for them to start learning, because as we all know, a lot of students, a lot of learners right now learning al- are learning at a young age. So with the help of kindergarten, we can teach them, we can mold them on how to be a student who can use their knowledge to get a good life, not just for them but also for their family. So that's how the K to 12 Basic Education Act help not just the students, not just the teachers, not just the stakeholders, not just the government, but the whole world itself. So the K to 12 Basic Education Act is very important. That is why it is very helpful not just for our country but for other countries as well. That is also the reason why Singapore and Vietnam are actually one of the leading schools when it comes to education. Next, we have number seven. It institute reform in the assessment framework and practice for a learner-centered basic education. Number eight, address basic input shortages in classroom, teachers, and textbooks. Number nine, it promote good education governance in the entire Department of Education. So let us explain these three things. So number seven, it is true that it institute reforms because of the K to 12 Act it made changes to the studies of the student. That is why when it comes to assessment of the students, we have different kinds of assessment in order for us to assess the students. But having this kind of opportunity is actually good, as it allows the education in our country to be reorganized. So when I say reorganized, it allows the students to learn the things step by step in a sequence. So that is why it's very helpful that the K to 12 was implemented, so that the students could learn what are the most important things for them to learn at their age, at their specific age. So as they grow older, they could try learning the higher level. Next is we have it address basic input shortages in classrooms, teachers, and textbooks. So that is true with the K to 12 Basic Education Act, or the program. It really helps when it comes to the shortages of classrooms, teachers, and textbooks. It is because there are lots of schools in our country who are actually lacking these supplies, these materials, but with the help of the K to 12 program, they actually help in providing the necessities for the students to learn. At the same time, it also provided opportunities for teachers to land job, because imagine if we were to remove the K to 12, then there would be a lot of teachers who would left unemployed. As we see the things on news and Facebook, there are actually thousands of teachers who are unemployed in the Philippines. But with the help of the K to 12, some of our teachers are actually given the opportunities to get the items, to get the jobs, in order for them to land and employment for them to teach. So the K to 12 is very helpful for the teachers as well. At the same time, with the help of the K to 12, there are lots of students who are actually lacking the materials, the classrooms for this. But with this program, they also provided some budget in order for the students to have free educations, like giving scholarship for the students. So that is why it's very helpful. Next is it promote good education governance in the entire Department of Education. So that is true. Because of this, there is a good governance within the Department of Education. Now, as you can see, the Philippines is actually one of the country who is behind when it comes to education. Now, with the introduction of the K to 12, it actually improved the quality of education in our students in our country. So there are lots of Filipino students right now who are actually given the chance to study abroad, which is actually very helpful for them thanks to the K to 12 Education Act program. So that's also one of the advantages of the K to 12 program. It allows our students to have more opportunities, not just to prosper in our country but in other countries as well. So because of this, the Department of Education is actually having an organized system in order to cater this kind of system, because with this kind of reform, the Department of Education is able to work accordingly to what are the students' needs and what are the things that they need to provide. So it provides cooperation within the department. So that is why it's very important, not just for the students but also to the Department of Education as well. Next is that it formulate a transition management plan for the K to 12 implementation by including modeling per region per specialization. So that's true. Because of this act, there is actually a organized plan, a management plan for K to 12 that is being implemented to our students. Like, for example, there are lots of students who are actually learning things that are not just being taught at school by those teachers who are just reading what is in the textbook. So, because of this, we have specialized teachers who are able to teach specialized knowledge, specialized skills that are being discussed and that are also being shared to our students. So because of this, we have teachers who have specific majors who are able to cater the specific subjects that the students needs. So we have lots of teachers who have different kind of specialization that also helps the government, the Department of Education, to help and cater the students who are passionate when it comes to learning different kinds of specialty. Next is we have identify K to 12 model schools per region and per specialization tracks that will model senior high school by 2012 and 2013. So number 11 and number 12 is actually kind of related because when it comes to specialization with the help of the K to 12, the grade 11 and the grade 12, we have different kind of tracks that are actually being implemented for the students to learn what are the specialization that they want. So we have different kinds of strands, we have the STEM, the UMS, the ABM, the GAS, TBL, and others, and so on. So because of this specialization, we have students who are able to grasp what are the goals that they want to achieve in life. For instance, like me, I choose UMS when I was a senior high school student. It is because I was actually really passionate when it comes to teaching in education. Now, when I applied an interview at the College of Education, it was actually very easy for me to grasp that interview, to ace that interview. It is because I learned the necessity, I learned the necessary skills when I was grade 12. So grade 12, grade 11, K to 12 is actually very helpful, not just for our students, but also to reorganize the kind of system that we have in our country. And another thing is that with the help of this reform, it also help our teachers, our parents also to know what are the things that are what to know, or to point out what are the things that our students or our children want, because with the introduction of the K to 12 we have different kind of specialization, so we can also actually guide them to what they want. Like just like me, when I choose UMS, my family also supported me when it comes to my necessities in my strand. So usually there are lots of textbooks that I need. But if you are a student who choose the specialty of STEM, then there are lots of things that the school or that track rather that you need to spend on. So choosing a specific specialization is very important as well, so that you can track or you can point out what are the things that you need, so that you can have a path, a road that you can follow, and that in that kind of road you will know what are the things that you need to prioritize, because those priorities are the things that you need in order for you to achieve your goals. So that's how the K to 12 actually helps the country, not just for the students, for the parents, for the government, but the whole world itself. Now, let's talk about the focal point of planning decisions. So we are going to determine what are or who are those people who are part of the planning decisions when it comes to this reform, the changes in our education. So first we have the academ. Let me read it. The academ focus on educational standards, research, and teaching methods. They ensure the curriculum is academically sound and up to date. Next is we have the industries. They concentrate on job readiness and economic growth. They provide insights into the skills and knowledge needed in the workforce. And last is we have the government agencies. So it prioritizes national goals and legal requirements. They set the overall direction through policies and laws like Republic Act number 10533. So these three actually are one of the central figures who are responsible for planning decisions. So the academ, they are actually responsible when it comes to planning decisions related to our education. So the academ is they ensure that the curriculum is academically sound and up to date. So Yes, that's true because with the academ, they are able to update what is in the curriculum because we all know that with the changes of globalization, there are lots of changes that we have to make in order to cater our students. With the introduction of AI, there are lots of revisions that are actually being implemented to the curriculum right now. So that is why the academ enters that topic because the academ are the figures, are the one who help revise the curriculum. They make decisions in order for our students to learn in the best way possible. So we are not trying to obliterate AI in our studies, but the academ are trying to find solution in order to use AI to have an advantage when it comes to our learning. So we are not going to abuse these things, but we are actually going to use these things for us to improve. So use it moderately. Next is we have the industries. So the industries, they concentrate on job readiness and economic growth. So according to what I have researched is that they're actually related to those who are planning decisions when it comes to jobs in our countries. So they are actually providing us some skills and knowledge in order for us to land the jobs that we want. Industries actually help us in order for us to have the opportunities to land on the jobs that we want. So it concentrates on job readiness and economic growth. So for example, we have the healthcare, the finance, the hospitality. We also have the information technology and other manufacturing industries. So this industries actually helps the citizens in our country, the citizens in the world, to have the necessary skills for them to acquire those jobs. And last, of course, we have the government agencies. So the government agencies is the central figures who makes planning decisions when it comes to the politics in our country. So it prioritizes national goals and legal requirements. So they are the one who is actually controlling the country in a whole aspect because with the government they can actually influence the entire country with the introduction of the technology. The government agencies are more capable to expand their influence in every border of our country. So with the government agencies, they are also able to make decisions that helps us prosper. So one of these decisions that they actually help in order for us to prosper is the Republic Act number 10533, which is the K to 12 law. So because of the national agencies who made this decision, it was actually very advantage, or it's actually very beneficial for us in the Philippines to have this kind of law so that we are not just going to have the necessary skills that we want. We are not just going to have the knowledge that we want, but for us to prepare in the future. So that's how the government agencies rather have a central power when it comes to planning decision in our country. So these three are the focal point of the planning decisions in different kinds of area: the academe, the industries, and the government agencies. Next, let us discuss the organizational structure for primary education. So, let me read the definition first. So, the DepEd consultation to create an effective curriculum, the Department of Education must consult with various national government agencies and stakeholders. So, stakeholders involved, these include the Department of Labor and Employment, DOLE, the Professional Regulation Commission, PRC, and also we have the private and public school associations, National Student and Teacher Organization, Parents Teachers Association, and the Chambers of Commerce. So let us think about it first. The reason why we are actually trying to make a good curriculum is in order for us to cater what are the learners need first to learn. So when it comes to the primary education, so we are actually going to cater different kinds of students with different kinds of learning skills and age. So we have to work with different kinds of organization. We have to work with the parents, we have to work with other stakeholders, we have to work with the government and other groups in order for us to create a meaningful curriculum that is also very beneficial to our students, because we cannot make a curriculum based on our own perspective only. We have to widen our mind so that we can get more ideas to have different kind of approach when it comes to teaching this kind of students. So that is why it is very important for the deep ed to have different kinds of system and connections to work with, so they can create a curriculum that is very beneficial for our students. So as the year goes around, there is a lot of revisions that is happening because there are lots of changes every year. So that is very actually good, because it's not just very helpful for the students, but it's also helpful to our country, because if we are able to mold these students, if we are able to teach them well, then they can be the next leader in our country. So as you know, Rizal already mentioned that ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan, and I truly believe that is still true up until this day, because the youth is actually the hope of our nation. So it's actually our job as an adult to teach them, to guide them, to mold them. So we have to work with different kinds of group in order for us to have different kinds of skills, different kinds of ideas, and also get their wisdom to have a good approach, to have a good technique, a good strategy to teach our learners, our students in our country. Continuing this part, this law also describes the role and function of the government agency which will implement the educational reform, as it states that the DepEd shall adhere to the following standards and principles in developing the enhanced basic education curriculum. So this is actually very long, so I'm just going to summarize it and read it short. So first we have the curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive, and developmentally appropriate. So that's true. We also need to make the kind of education that we have in our country to be inclusive, because we have different kinds of learners with different kinds of backgrounds. So we have to make it inclusive so that we can accept them, and teach them in a way that we are not trying to limit them in their capacity. So we have to be inclusive, we have to embrace them, we have to welcome them, and we have to teach them the same way as we teach the other group. Another thing is that it has to be learner centered, because if we make this kind of curriculum to be learner centered, it allows it allows us to get the attention of the students easily, because in this kind of era, the students are the students are actually being distracted by kinds of different kinds of disturbance like technology. So in order for us to get their attentions, we have to make the curriculum learner centered. So we are not going to abuse technology, we are actually going to use it in a way to help make our curriculum learner centered. So we can actually use technology to make our curriculum learner centered by using the internet, by using different kinds of materials in order to grasp the attention of the students. So if we make our curriculum learner centered, we are also able to make them learn things faster and easily, because if they try to experience it themselves, then they will easily memorize it and learn it. Next is that the curriculum shall be relevant, responsive, and research based. That is true, the curriculum shall be relevant, because if it is not relevant, then what is the essence, what is the purpose of the things that we are trying to teach to the students? Another thing is that it should be responsive. So when we say responsive, there is a communication there's a communication where the sender and receiver will have a response to what are the things that they have been trying to talk to or to trying to learn with. So if a teacher tries to teach something to the student, so it is very important for the students to respond. So how does the student respond? So by showing their by showing what they learned. So by showing what they learned, that's already a response. So for instance, we teach them about values. So if they are able to apply those values, respect, love, that's a response as well. Next is we have the curriculum shall be culture sensitive, so that's true. Although we are embracing inclusivity, but we also have to be sensitive to different kinds of culture. It is because we cannot force other people to embrace our culture. For instance, here in our culture, rather in Marawi City, we are actually trying to we're actually trying to um we're actually trying to have a culture where women should wear their veil so that they can cover their hair. Another kind of culture that we have in our group is that we should always treat people with respect and of course respect our mother, our family. These kind of values are also one of our culture. Another thing is our traditions, how we dress, our foods. So that is why we have to be culturally sensitive because for instance, you force your Muslim classmate to drink wine or eat pork. So that's actually culturally uh, sensitive to the other group because they have different kind of culture and you also have a different kind of culture. So you cannot force what you have to others. So we have to be culturally sensitive. That goes on to the curriculum as well. We have to be culturally sensitive. Next is the curriculum shall be contextualized and global. So that's true. The curriculum shall be contextualized and global so that the learners could know what's going on in the world. We have to contextualize different kinds of things. What's happening in the world right now, it is something that we must talk, just like what's happening in Palestine. We have to contextualize like using our knowledge, like using our skills like making poetries, making speech, storytelling to contextualize different kinds of things that's happening in the world. Another thing is history. We have to contextualize history itself, not just in our country but also in a global level. So that's very important for our learners as well to learn because we are not just going to learn what's in our country but also the whole world itself. So we have to make it contextual and global in order for the students to learn not just what we have but also from the other country. Next is we have the curriculum should use pedagogical approaches that are constructivist, inquiry-based, reflective, collaborative, and integrative. To sum it up, this actually means that when we are going to make our curriculum, we have to make it something that's that's easily being able to discuss to our students using easy instruction and approach. So we have to construct things that are very effective for them to learn. We have to be reflective in order for them to in order for us to get their attention, and we have to be collaborative and integrative. So we are not just going to work with the students but also we have to work with the parents, with other stakeholders, and we have to integrate what we have, what we learned, our wisdoms to our students so that they can use our wisdoms as well as a guidance for their own path. We have the curriculum shall adhere to the principles and framework of mother tongue based multilingual education, which starts from where the learners are and from what they already knew, proceeding from the known to the unknown. So that's true. In order for us to teach our students effectively, we have to use their mother tongue first to teach them. So as they grow older, as they grow knowledgeable about their own mother tongue, we can actually help them explore the unknown things. So that is why it's very important first to use what they have, and that is their mother tongue. Next is we have the curriculum should use the spiral progression approach to ensure mastery of knowledge and skills after each level. So that's true. In order for us to teach them more effectively, we should always use this spiral progression. We should always remind them, we should always ask them the previous things in order for them to not forget the important topic. So we have to make it spirally. We have to make it continuously in order for them to remember what they learned. Next is the curriculum shall be flexible enough to enable and allow schools to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective educational and social contexts. The production and development of locally produced teaching materials shall be encouraged, and approval of these materials shall devolve to the regional and division education units. So basically, the curriculum should be flexible when it comes to schools that are actually being that is actually being in these parts. It's very important for us to contextualize the things in order for your students to have more engagement in our discussion. Just like here in Marawi City, our teacher actually uses localized example, indigenous example that is related to our culture so that the students could actually get interested into the topic. Because if we don't do this kind of approach, then of course the student is quite unfaded to the discussion because that student is not quite familiar to that kind of scenario. So it's very important for us to contextualize our curriculum, specifically localize it to the specific area that you are teaching. Next, we have the rationale for the curriculum review and planning towards K to 12 program. So the rapid changes such as digitization, globalization, trade liberalization, and the environmental revolution are the impacted characteristics of the world in this 21st century. So actually, that is very true because with the help of globalization, it actually helped the world advance into a new era. So because of this, we have different kinds of approach when we are teaching our students. Because with globalization, we are actually not also learning what we have in our own area, but things outside our horizon. So with this kind of approach, the educational level in the world is actually advancing itself because of this uh, new introduction of era. We are also able to expand our skills. We are also able to improve ourselves when it comes to education. So continuing, these changes call for an education that prepares Filipino students to meet global challenges, participate in research and development, and help reconstruct the world of work. So we have different kinds of students who are actually interested to this kind of thing. There are actually some students who are interested in staying in our own country, and also students who wants to help the world itself. Now with the help of globalization, most of our students in our country are actually globally challenged when it comes to making the world a better place. So because of this kind of approach, our learners are actually motivated to get more higher steps, higher achievements in life, not just to make themselves successful, but also to help our country. Another thing is that with this globalization, it actually improved the kind of education that we have in our country. With the introduction of technology, we are able to use it in a way that students can now easily access the internet to search the information that they have. So it's very helpful. It transcends what we have been expecting from what we are trying to achieve. So just like using AI, it's actually out of my expectation that they are also able to watch video and make a reflection essay of it. but we are not going to abuse it in that way. What matters is that we are actually using these changes in in a way that we are not going to abuse it, but in a way that we are going to use it for us to improve as a guidance. Next is we have the Grappling of the Deep Edge 2010 Enhanced K-12 Basic Education Program. The Commission on Higher Education Technical Panel on General Education came out with its college readiness standards, which describes the combination of skills, knowledge, and habits of mind that a student wishing to enter college should possess after a 12-year pre-university education. So because of this, it is very important as well for a student to have a pre 12-year pre-university education before entering college, so that during those 12 years the student is able to garner all the knowledge, the skills that are being taught at kindergarten up to grade 12. So because of K to 12, it allows students to be ready to take on the next level. Next is that the enhanced program is rooted on sound educational principles and geared towards excellence. So it is anticipated that graduates of the enhanced K-12 basic education program will be an empowered individual. So that's actually true. It is because during those years, these students are transformed and equipped with different kinds of skills and knowledge. So it's a big guarantee for them to be a professional with different kinds of knowledge and skills that they have, because they acquired it in their 12 years of pre 12 years of studies in kindergarten up to grade 12. So it's very likely that these students will be a professional with different kinds of skills, because they are not just going to acquire skills from kindergarten up to grade 12, but in their college level. So that is why the government says that the K to 12 is very helpful, because it helps our students equipped and more transformed. Now, the implications of this study is that there are many models for curriculum development. As a process, curriculum development is focused in reviewing, planning, and developing, implementing, and maintaining curriculum, while ensuring that the stakeholders engaged in this process have a high level of commitment to and ownership of the curriculum. So, in other words, there are actually different kinds of approach when it comes to making a curriculum. So it's very important that during the process, it is very important for us to review it first. Then we have to plan what are the things that we need to do, and develop that plan and implement it and maintain it. So that's how we actually make a curriculum. It goes step by step, and those during those steps you have to work different kinds of strategies in order to meet the objective that you want at the end. Now, there are different kinds of models actually in order to achieve the curriculum that we want for our students. In addition to this, we have formulating policy. That is, the challenge lies in the discussion on the form, content, aims, and goals of the curriculum, often referred to as curriculum components. So that is true. There are actually different kinds of challenges that we actually face when it comes to making the curriculum. That is why we have to make the curriculum updated even up to date, because there are lots of changes every day when it comes to the learning capacity for our students. So it is very important for us to update and prepare ourselves when it comes to handling the curriculum. Continuing, we have different kinds of approaches in order for us to use so that we can teach our students well. So previously the reporter taught us the different kinds of models. We have the A model, the Tabas inverted model, the Tyler's and means model, the Oliva model, Saylor and Alexander's model, McDonald's models, Eisner's artistic approach, the Diamond model, the Walker's naturalistic model, and the goal-based model. So these models actually are very helpful when it comes to constructing the curriculum. So imagine a curriculum is not just an information that you make based on your own experience only, but it goes on a big experience, a big challenges, because you have to work with different kinds of people, different kinds of stakeholders. You also have to work with the government itself to know the necessities that you need to implement in order for your students to learn gradually. So it's very important for us that when we implement the curriculum, we should always have a goal in mind. So we should always ask ourselves, what is the goal? If you find out what is the goal that you want, then you are now able to construct a process that you will use in order for you to achieve that goal. The same goes for learning. It's very important for us to have a learning objective so that at the end of the activity you will achieve you will achieve the objectives that you want to meet. So it's very important to always have a goal. So that's the most important thing that we have to use when it comes to teaching in our students. Goal. Because if you have a goal, you will work harder. If you will work harder, you will find ways. And by finding ways, you will look for different kinds of strategies that will help you to prosper. So it's very important to have a goal. And that's all from Group 5. I am Nasim G. Pindaton. Thank you for listening. And I also do apologize for the different kinds of qualities that we have in this video. But I do hope that you understand the key components in this topic. So it's very important for us to have a goal at the end. And I do hope that we have achieved that goal at the end of this video. Thank you so much. I am Nasim G. Pindaton once again, and together with me are my group mates. We have Miss Najia D. Makarangkat, Miss Rogeline D. Makatunok, and Miss Norlaila L. Makadaag. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.